Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have yet another Cyberpunk 2077 related video. But this one is going to be less of a timeline of events and more of me sharing the importance of the Epilepsy PSA that Game Informer reporter Liana Ruppert released. Now I have personal experiences with people who have had epilepsy and are prone to seizures in my life. And because of that, this is something that is very important for me to share. First, I've already thanked Liana personally through Twitter and asked for her permission to quote from her article since it's so very important. But I wanted to just reiterate how thankful I am that she was there to release that PSA, because there wasn't even a warning that Cyberpunk 2077 could cause seizures before she released her article. And on December 7th, when she released her article, she reported that she suffered a grand mal seizure during one of the braindance sequences, which is where they put a machine over your head, there are flashing lights in front of your face, and then the screen goes white. Now, for photosensitive viewers, that's certainly something that could be very, very dangerous for them. The good news is that CD Projekt Red immediately took that into consideration and did a fix via hotfix 1.04, where they made the intensity and duration of the flashes a little bit lesser. They're still there. However, the experience is roughly similar to what it was before, albeit less intense. It's a type of seizure that causes a loss of consciousness and violent muscle contractions. A grand mal seizure is usually caused by epilepsy, but may have other triggers, such as very low blood sugar, high fever, or a stroke. I know that other seizures can be caused by other factors, such as masses in the brain, etc. This is something that I definitely wanted to drill down and talk about more, because this is a subject that is very, very important to me personally. And if I can possibly help those who suffer from seizures and their friends and family through this, I am always glad to do that. Now, accessibility in gaming is a conversation that we've been having for a while now, and rightfully so, because it's led to a movement to make games more accessible. We've seen leaps and bounds in the past few years, which is something that I'm very happy with and very proud of. Some great examples of added accessibility in gaming are in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which offer flash warnings, text options, and a few other features to improve the overall experience for those who need it. I just started to play God of War 2018, in fact, and I was super happy to see that they had a text size option for people like me and others who have certain vision issues and find it hard to read small text on a screen. Now back to Cyberpunk 2077. Having flashing lights in your media is something that I would have expected in a TV show or anime from something like the 90s. In fact, some of my favorite 90s anime had flashing lights before we made leaps and bounds to improve the experience for those who suffer from seizures. Pokemon, in fact, was pretty notorious for having flashing lights. But after an episode that aired in the late 90s that reportedly caused many seizures throughout Japan, they halted production for 4 months and ensured that they would not have such issues happen again, which is something that I certainly appreciate. In fact, medicine for conditions like epilepsy have also improved greatly since the 90s, which has saved many people's lives and well-being. Back in that time as well, computer monitors such as CRT monitors had flashing lights, so people who suffered from epilepsy and were also prone to seizures actually had a really hard time looking at computer screens and having access to computers as they started to come out. The advent of things like plasma, LCD, and LED have been revolutionary for those individuals who suffer from light sensitivity. Which is what brings me back to the present. After all of these advents, as well as a movement for accessibility in gaming, having a game that may or may not have been designed to resemble an epilepsy test that induces seizures is unacceptable. In the article itself, Liana stated that because of active military duty, she now suffers from seizures, and she has to think about what games she can and can't play due to photosensitivity issues. She reported in her article that she suffered a grand mal seizure during the playing of Cyberpunk, and I will read directly from her Game Informer article as well as link it down below for your reference. She says, "During my time with Cyberpunk 2077, I suffered one major seizure and felt several moments where I was close to another one. I kept going because I made that decision to, and I feel like that decision helped me sort of slap together a small little guide for players wanting to take part in this game for fear of missing out." She goes on to list general triggers in the game and ways to avoid it. The main warning that she gave is from the braindance sequences. Now, these sequences are important to the main plot of the game. And let's go back to the type of seizure that she had. These seizures can be destructive at best and deadly at worst. I'm very relieved that she's okay from that experience. And this is where I'll share a little bit of my own experiences and why I genuinely feel that this is so important. In a year like 2020, we want to cut losses as much as we can. And in a video game that potentially could cause a grand mal seizure, it's really important to take precautions. When I was 12 years old, I had a friend named braindance. We didn't know each other for very long, but in a time where I was aggressively bullied every single day at school, he treated me like a human being. He was one of the most special and cherished people in my life. Little did I know at the time he had epilepsy or was prone to seizures. I'm not entirely certain which. And one Saturday morning in 1999, he suddenly died of a grand mal seizure. The loss of him in my life was incalculable and colored the rest of my upbringing up until now. One thing that we bonded on was video games. We loved to play together. And although he was a little bit older than me, like him and I playing games together and like us getting better and more skilled definitely just really helped my own sense of self-worth. I think all the time about how much he would really love the games that were out now. He wouldn't even believe how good they are. Which is why accessibility in gaming is so important for those people like him who may suffer from seizures but can still have access to this type of media and entertainment. Furthermore, there was a member of my close family who also suffered from seizures. I'm not entirely certain if it was grand mal seizures, and I won't reveal the identity of this person just for privacy reasons. But I can't quantify the amount of sleepless nights my family had trying to keep this member of my family alive and well. Now, in the article, Liana states that the braindance machines in Cyberpunk 2077 resemble medical equipment that is designed to induce seizures. And in 2020, after all the talk of technological advancement and accessibility, having something like that in your game is unacceptable at best and morally reprehensible at worst. I am somebody who has experienced fear and loss due to those in my life who have had seizures, and to know that there is something out there that could potentially cause that is something that just sends my brain spinning. Now, does that mean that I would discourage you from playing the game? I mean, despite all of the bugs and all of the issues, if this is something that you really wanted to play, I really don't discourage you or anybody else from playing, because this is what the accessibility conversation is all about, right? If you want to play a game and you have an accessibility issue, you should be able to play it. But there are definitely some precautions that you should take if you or somebody that you know is prone to epilepsy or seizures. For example, during these braindance sequences, they usually tell you ahead of time. So when the machine goes down, you can avert your eyes, you can cover your face, you can close your eyes, you can dim your screen. That's something that Liana from the Game Informer article did, in fact, and that did help her, which is great news. Now, although I'm not an expert, I do know some of the basics of what to do when someone around you is having a seizure. So what I'm going to do for you guys, in case you do have somebody in your life who suffers, I'm going to put a list down below of steps that you can take if a friend, loved one, someone around you happens to be suffering a seizure, and things that you can do to help them through it and ensure their survival and well-being. Again, I wanted to applaud Liana Ruppert for writing her article about her experience and really spreading awareness. It can't be understated that she could potentially save lives with her article, and that's something that I will be thankful for forever. And to CD Projekt Red's credit, I'm glad that they took immediate action to fix those sequences in the game to minimize the risk of seizures to those playing. And because of this, I really think it's vital that we continue these conversations on health and accessibility so that similar incidents won't happen again. Now, to conclude, I'm going to go ahead and post that list of things you can do if somebody around you is having a seizure, as well as the original Game Informer article so that you can read yourself. This inspired me, in fact, to learn a little bit more about Liana and her writing. She is really incredible. I am a marketing content person myself, and I couldn't even fathom writing the amount of content that she does on a daily basis. The amount of intelligence and passion that she exudes is really inspirational for people like me. I hope that you guys stay safe and good to each other, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.